Hi, Janan. Your painted color wheel looks just great. If there was anything that could be doctored a little bit, it might be making the orange and yellow orange a little more different. Start with a lighter color when you're mixing. That'll give you more control. But your colors are right on. With your digital color wheel, well, there are some matters to consider here. First, it's not a wheel. It's not round. And sometimes we can give a little leeway, but in this case your design is very freeform. It does suggest colors on a rainbow, but remember that part of this assignment was learning to use the guides, grid, and snapping, and there's just none of that here. So I also took the color picker to your colors, and I do not see RGB values for red, yellow, or magenta being right on, and I did provide you with those. Additionally, your green and blue, the ones that are closest to the big star, are in fact shades. So some things to think about. Also, for future, I'd like you to push beyond stars. Stars are an easy, ready-made design component, and I'd like to see you and your classmates go a little further and think a little harder. Hi, Lauren. Taking a look at your week 2 art. First, your painted color wheel. Well, as you probably gather from an email message I sent, this is not a sufficient presentation. In fact, it's really hard to tell what colors you have here because the lighting on this photo is dim. So I'll take a look and see if you've been able to post a better image of this. A scan is best. Now, onto your digital color wheel. Well, all of your primaries and secondaries are pretty close. They're all within 1 or 2 digits of being just perfect, and that's fine. The one thing I would say is that this design doesn't show use of the grid, guides, or snapping. Also, in case you want to repeat a same size circle, simply copy and paste it. I noticed that there are a variety of circle sizes, and I don't really see a system to that. Hi, Aria, your painted color wheel looks very nice. I noticed that the shapes are all cut very carefully and the colors are good too. Now let's see, maybe between yellow and yellow-green there's a bit of a jump, and I would say, as I said to someone else in class, start with a lighter color and add the darker to it for best control. It might be that your orange could have a little more red in it, but on the whole, that's really good. And, you know, I'm a big fan of your digital color wheel. I think you came up with a draft early, you got the colors right on, and you pushed the design idea further. Congratulations. Hi, Mary. Your painted color wheel looks quite good. Maybe there's a little bit of a jump between the red, violet, and red, or between the yellow and yellow-green, but this is really a nice example. Let's see, your digital color wheel. Well, you've made this into a complex composition worthy of being framed, given that you have added a black and white design and repeated the color wheel. I've checked your RGB values and they all look right on. I noticed that you have accentuated the primaries and secondaries by making them a little to the inside and also larger than the other stars a little to the inside. Nice work. I wanted to say that if you wanted to make something large, print it large for framing, your best bet is to work in Illustrator for future. As I said, I could see this as framed art. Hi, Melissa. Your colors on the painted color wheel look quite good. Let's see. The blue-green seems awfully green and a little dark. Other than that, things look really good. Perhaps the assembly isn't the neatest job, but you did get the colors very nicely. Now, onto the digital color wheel. Well, I checked your RGB values on the primaries and secondaries, and they are right on. Like Mary, you have repeated the design. You've shrunken the rectangle and superimposed one on top of another, and that adds a nice complexity. Hi, Liz. I'm taking a look at your color wheels, and with a painted one, let's see. I wonder if the blue-green is blue enough, and your blue-violet and violet look awfully dark. Add a touch of white to bring out the hue there, and also be sure that you're using the right red. Most of those other colors look okay. Let's see. Now, the digital color wheel. What a fantastic layout. This feels digital. It looks pixelated. I'd be interested to know more about how you assembled this design. I'm going to take a look to see if you've added any notes when I go to do the grading. I have checked your RGB values on the primaries and secondaries, and they all look good. Hi, Janine. I'm taking a look at your painted color wheel. Thank you for submitting a second one. That's the one I'm regarding. Things look pretty good here. I think your blue, violet, and violet somehow need work. And the matter is, you need to have the perfect red and blue. And judging by your blue, I think you do have ultramarine. The question is, do you have a red such as quinacridone or alizarin? The color's a little muddy, and I know you've added a touch of white. I can see that, but hopefully the white is added with discretion, and it's just revealing the hue. Also, I'd say that blue could use a little cerulean in it so that it's not so very dark, or perhaps even a touch of white. Now, with regard to your digital color wheel, well, here, this is really a paint color wheel. Notice that the organization is different. I do observe that you have substituted magenta for violet. However, orange, for example, is not a secondary color on the digital color wheel. Hi, Tanya. This painted color wheel looks fairly good. I'm looking at your blue-green, seems awful dark, and also there should be more variation between blue, blue-violet, and violet. Maybe even a little more variation between red, red-orange, and orange, too. I'm looking at your yellow to green there, or yellow to yellow-green, and that's a pretty big jump. Always, when mixing, start with a lighter color. That will give you more control. Now, with regard to your digital color wheel, I believe I reviewed this, and I still see the same mistake here. Unfortunately, you are not the only one. This is the paint color wheel. These colors are not the digital color wheel colors. I need you to study up on that so you know what you're talking about here. I do like your layout idea. There is room for a little more precision. Generally, with a digital file, the expectation for precision is high. Hi, Suzette. I'm looking at your digital color wheel here, and your primaries and secondaries are right. Now, I notice here you've also got some intermediate colors. They all seem to be something other than fully saturated ones. At first, I didn't recognize this as a wheel, but I do see that the primaries and secondaries generally form sort of a circle. And speaking of that, I'd like to see you use guides. For example, the purple and green ovals at left and right should be lined up properly. I need you to take care and treat each assignment we do as a kind of work of art, especially the second assignment of the week. Hi, Jamie. I'm taking a look at your digital color wheel, and your primaries and secondaries are appropriate in terms of RGB values. I am interested in this sort of swirling design, and you've used it before. I can see it's something like your trademark. On the other hand, I want you to be exacting with a digital file. When people regard digital works, they expect everything to be very precise. So casual placement of circles with spaces larger and smaller between them doesn't really fly. I want you to take pride in your work and show a lot of care. Hi, Samantha. I'm taking a look at your color wheels, and that's a very neat presentation with your painted one. Let's see. I think the blue could stand to be a little lighter. A touch of white would help. And also, you can mix the two blues together. That would be ultramarine and cerulean, for instance. And I'm wondering about blue-violet. That's looking pretty dark. Notice also things like there's a jump between blue-green and blue. Maybe between yellow and yellow-green. So just try to make the transition a little more gradual. And I'm thinking that your red-violet looks like a tint. So hold back on the white, a little less white. Now, the digital color wheel, well, the RGB values for your primaries and secondaries are right. The intermediate colors are not all fully saturated, though they're fairly close. Now, I noticed variation in the size of stars, and I'm wondering why that is. If you want them to be all the same, then make 1 or 2 or 3 originals and then copy and paste them and change their colors afterward. Also, if I was working on this, I would have drawn a circle and put that on a separate layer, and then use that to line everything up, throw it away at the end after it's been used and is no longer needed.